Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're starting a game series looking at Fez. After having tried to find the elusive PC Mario 64 3D platformer equivalent, and not really succeeding so far, I figured I'd play a 2.5D platforming game that's a bit more of a puzzle experience. Now, I suppose there's one thing, an elephant in the room, that needs to get mentioned. This was an indie game. Until I looked at the research, my understanding of this game, which came out in 2012, so I'm nearly a decade at this point late to the party, that this was a game, from my perception, that was beloved by the video game industry. It was talked about quite a bit. A lot of people were playing it and won awards, things like that, getting very, very pumped up. At least originally, in research, it seems like the main spokesman, or the self-elected main spokesman for the game, was Phil Fish. Apparently Phil Fish was either trolling or just being a straight up jerk on Twitter. He only has like two retweets that I can even see at this point, so he's mostly deleted himself. But it seems like he was just kind of aggressive and not pleasant to deal with people. He apparently got in a fight with video game journalists, and video game journalists tend to circle the wagons and support each other, and so that lost him a lot of momentum and probably lost any chance of a sequel to Fez ever getting made, because he canceled it himself. Now, there are other people that worked on Fez. It's not like this was a sole independent project. There was at least a couple other people in there, so it would be possible to make something Fez-like with the other people, or even with Phil Fish if he wanted to actually work in the video game industry and could actually work with other people. So he peeved off mainstream video game journalists. He also managed to peeve off Gamergate supporters, from the looks of it, or at least allegedly. He claims he was hacked and doxxed by Gamergate supporters by stating support for Zoe Quinn, which I could certainly see that. So he seems to be on the outsides with two very different groups, as it were, and just making it worse for himself. When in all honesty, though, if he had just been silent, he would have been fine. I suspect that his attitude and his actions on Twitter probably weren't too different from what a lot of video game creators and a lot of people in the video game industry think. They're just a little bit better at not spouting it out in public. I bet there's a lot of similar attitudes, and in the end it didn't really matter at all, because the truth of it is, I had no idea about any of this. All I ever got as a message was that initial push and that initial hype for Fez, and that convinced me to buy this game when I felt like it was a reasonable price, and it's convinced me to play it. Separating the art from the artist, basically, or one of the artists, particularly in video games when you have multiple people working on a project. That the whole argument of boycotting a artist's creation based on what they've said or their beliefs is really ridiculous. So we're not going to really touch on that anymore. I don't see there really a reason to. The other thing that I know was that there was a almost augmented reality game, maybe a real augmented reality game aspect to this, where there definitely is a community built aspect to finding solutions and secrets for Fez. I'm very possibly may not find all the secrets in Fez, and I'm going into it happy knowing that. Do we have any other setup we need to establish? Not really. Phil Fish has pretty much claimed that he was out of the video game industry, so maybe he would come back. as a controversial figure, but honestly, I don't think the video game industry has room for controversial figures anymore, as they've become even more insular and less likely to accept anyone who isn't going to toe the line. So here's Fez being spelled out in blocks. The game starts like this. Your full screen with some pixel graphics. Let's go to the options and just see what we can do. Single threaded off. We don't need that. Steamworks off. I mean, I guess we'll leave it on. Pause on lost focus on. All that seems like that's fine. Video settings 1080p, full screen, brightness 50. Vertical sync is the only thing that I try to turn off. Hardware instancing on. Like, this really isn't going to be a considerably difficult visually it's not going to be a really high visual requirement game, and again, being so old, there's no reason to it. Now I might need to turn up the audio a little bit because that does seem a little quiet. I have it at like 5% instead of 10% in the Windows Volume Manager. So let's see. Yeah, I think what we'll do is Alt and then up. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure if that's actually adjusting the audio, so let me just go to the volume manager and see. No, that didn't change anything. See how that sounds. Okay, that's still pretty quiet even at 10%. So let's make some quick adjustments. Sorry for all of this. People want you to jump right into the game, I know. Go up to 20%. Alright, we'll see if 20% is too much. So what we can immediately see is that this is a reference to Legend of Zelda or Legend of Zelda 2 start screen. We have a drum. We have a drum set and a bed, and we can jump on things. And it seems like there's a little floating red block that might be an indicator of some kind of quick saving aspect. So press up on the D-pad to enter a door. You enter a door, it changes your perspective. I'm trying to figure out what that red block is in the lower right corner, if that's some kind of loading. So we've got some other human-like creatures. I would not really call them human. Guy with the eye patch dropped a letter. Walk up to the mailbox. So we have an edge there we don't want to fall off of. And I think we have to kind of follow the instructions pretty quickly. Playing as Gomez. Dear Gomez, please meet me at the top of the village. I have something very important to tell you. Today is a special day. Geezer. And you press A to continue, although I don't think I actually pressed A to continue. I think I pressed B. Use the right stick to look around and snap back, which is okay. And B talks to villagers, so let's see. I could run around all day. In fact, I will. Gomez, Gomez, Gomez. Alright. So, we haven't quite gotten to the full. This says Gomez's house. I may have to figure out some things. So when you get to an edge, you can shimmy around things. And I think the big twist we don't want to reveal yet, but if I press down on D-pad and A, also this works on the left stick too, so I'm gonna play with the left stick. That makes more sense to me. What's your favorite shape? Seems like it's gonna be square. Mine is square, not cube, that's for sure, because there's no such thing. I guess I already kind of spoiled it by saying 2.5D game. This would be a flat 2D platformer if this was all the game was. It is worth mentioning though that this isn't a 2D frustration platformer a la something like Super Meat Boy. And it is saving like every time I touch a surface or something. See if we can crawl in here. Nope, we cannot crawl in the fireplace. And I imagine there's nothing to read, nothing to interact with, so there probably is just going to be a character in here later on. Notice that the time frame has changed and we have a Tetris piece now in the environment. And having played The Witness, I kind of am now pressing all the buttons to see if maybe that I have some way in which I could use that information to move my perspective, but I don't see it yet. See, just knowing that there are tricks in the game, you're already looking for them, and kind of knowing that it's a puzzle game. But yeah, I have railed against Super Meat Boy style games. I think Super Meat Boy is a very good game. It's just not the kind of game I want to play, where you die over and over again. In all honesty, I don't even think if I was today to play Super Mario Bros. 1, I would make it all the way to the end before I rage quit. I'm just too old. And frankly, just a little too bad at games. Because, in part because I have a little bit of arthritis in my hands. And that it's not helpful to have to struggle and mash buttons and press a lot of buttons real fast. Let's see, is this geesy? Reality is perception. Perception is subjective. Alright. Over here we've got another area. There probably is all kinds of things that can be done in this area later on, but we're just having a standard initial video game experience where we're looking around. Here we can see a picture of somebody standing on a tree. Let me see if there's an option here as far as game settings. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's an autosave. Save management. So maybe I will have to turn off like Steamworks. Nope, that requires a restart if I do that, so I don't want to do that right now. But certainly it is weird to just have such a large save box in the corner happen so often that it's noticeable. Like, I'm sure plenty of other games that see that I'm sure plenty of other games have autosave features and they put a little thing in the corner, but this is just way too big. Can we talk to the cat? No. We're getting the same tutorial prompts and we'll want to see that later. Here's the schoolroom. And Maybe it saves every few seconds when you leave an area. And here they're just showing squares because that's all they know. There are no such thing as devil squares, only regular squares. Is that a reference to a devil's triangle? I don't think so. So there must be actually something called a devil square. That seems like a weird choice. Maybe they didn't think that one through all the way. Yeah, seems like once you enter and leave an area, you get a save. Just a few seconds after it kind of properly loads, so they know you won't just crash and burn. So there might be some management that is kind of important as far as making sure you stay in one area until you've done everything that you need to do in that area. You're looking nice and flat today. Right. So that over there is not something I can walk on. It's interesting. And my jump is definitely not far enough to jump from one ledge. As you can see, I'm tiptoeing all the way to another ledge. That's too much. And there's Geezer with the eye patch. And we've got these chairs, which we can't do anything with, and we've got this. And then it started the dialogue immediately once I walked near him. Ha, there you are. Today is a special day. Well, today is a special day. Adventure is ready. It's Gomez time. Anytime now. And so now it's starting to get darker, and now we're seeing Tetris pieces and constellations. Just you wait. There you go. It's a little weird for a game to start just handing you magical power. Yeah, really no explanation there at all. It's like, why didn't... Interesting. Dialogue I don't understand, and dialogue that I don't believe I could translate into anything, because that's just too few letters. It feels like there should be a ceremony there, like today is the day of your ascension, everybody's talking about it, it's a great day. Or you go the other route and then you have a nobody stumble on something that makes them the hero of the story just by chance. I guess I have to hit B here? I don't want to pause the game right now, but the game does have a very reminiscent to Ocarina of Time style menu. So we're definitely seeing a lot of Zelda influences, and I can't blame anybody for that. And this is too old of a game to include the most recent Zelda game, Breath of the Wild. So I wonder if there will be a New Game Plus where we can get this dialogue uncoded, or if you had to just kind of translate this outside of the game. There was a game I played that had a language you didn't understand, but if you beat it, then you could play it a second time and see what the language was saying. The game was too simple and too difficult to beat to really justify playing a second time now. Although it was short enough that if you really, really loved it, it would make sense to play it on a harder difficulty with everything untranslated. It was actually a very interesting game because you had one heart of life and would die in one hit, and your opponent would die in one hit or in most cases. So it was just this boss rush game with a simplistic Zelda 1 overworld. Like, we have no idea what's going on here. So twice now we have instances of the game just not bothering to kind of establish itself and do world building. I think there's a problem there. We're getting a magical fez. Wouldn't it have been a little bit more interesting if Gramps just gave us the fez, or we just found the fez? The fez gave us a magical power and showed us this cutscene after that point. So, here's the big reveal. You use left and right trigger to change your perspective. So, you don't like that perspective, you go this way. You don't like that perspective, you go this way. Which means in the background, we just broke something. Maybe that wasn't supposed to happen. We broke reality but by adding a third dimension, and we apparently broke the 3D cube. And now they're doing something that makes it look like your computer reset, but the load screen there was from some very, very old computer. So here, now we're glitching. So we need to press A, I guess, to start again. And this is a false reboot, obviously, and they wanted to make that obvious. The background image of the space is kind of a warped space, I suppose, and that's why it looks a little weird. And so we start the game over again, except for we have the fez now. So instead of shifting the perspective, we can now shift the perspective and see how that room looks the other direction. And it's still 2D, but it changes something. Although it doesn't seem like that really changes too much. Like, everything has three-dimensionality. See, that would be the weirdest thing if and I guess this is probably how four dimensions would work in reality, is that from our perspective, our limited perspective, everything looks like it's a 3D object, but very possibly is a 4D object. Now, the only thing that might be some kind of hint is this hanging rope, but I don't see it. So we start the game again, and we get a 3D fly around of the building. I would say they did a very good job here of not having you locked into 2D too long, but they also bit themselves in the butt. Oh, now we can understand it, because it wouldn't have been terrible to spend about an hour doing at least one level, if not 2 or 3, in 2D first, do some world building, get the basics under our belt, and then we got a 3D ability and got to run through that level a lot faster, that initial tutorial level. Now that they've eliminated that, I mean, all we did was climb to the top of a place, which probably means that there is no fighting in this game, and there's nothing but platforming and puzzle solving by finding environmental elements that are lying around, and trying to find these cubes that broke up. Gomez, something went wrong. I need your help. I was sent to guide you. I am Dot. The hexahedron has been fragmented, shattered and scattered all over the world. You must restore it. Without it, everything will collapse. You have received the gift. A great secret has been revealed to you. There is a world beyond your village, and dimensions beyond the ones you occupy. This door leads to the outside world, but for now it's sealed shut. The markings on it indicate that it won't open until you've collected at least one cube. I can't even see the door because he's in the way, and by the way, the right stick camera is locked right now, so I can't see those markings. There are many such doors in the world, each requiring more cubes than the last, so it's a linear gating mechanic. To reach the end of the journey, you need to find all 32 cubes. But first you must leave this place. Now I see the symbol. There are 8 cubes in this village. Oh, that's pretty simple. Like the one right here. Together you'll form a full cube, which can be used to unseal the door. Find them. So quick recap. They should have given them a different name. They should have been cube bits or cube parts, cube pieces. They should be circles. Something to tell you that you need multiple of them. Shiny golden cubes. Very important. Gotta find them all, or else the universe collapses with you in it. No pressure. And remember, use left trigger and right trigger to change your perspective. Now get going. Alright, so this will give us a look inside, it looks like, also. Which, that's nice. I saw a devil square. Where did you go? Did you bring me back something? So you collect them and it fills in a nice little 3-dimensional thing and it gives you a HUD. Cool. And then it saves. Well, I can immediately see a patch that would be helpful. Just to get rid of that save icon. So here's what I'm thinking. Vertically, you don't want to move until you're ready and you've looked all around. So there's a whole system here, clearly, but there's no pushing of blocks or anything. But we can see that there's a secret system here. So you can be in this, and then that just puts you in the back of something else. How would that be useful, though? I think also you can jump and rotate. So we'll just... These are just windows, aren't they? Yeah. So, yeah. You gonna tell me something, or are you just floating around? Okay. So, there is some kind of treasure chest that we can reach. A treasure chest. To open it, face it from the front and press X. Okay. Very Zelda-esque. Now, if this was a brand new game, I found the key. Good. Keys can open any locked door, but they only can be used once. Very video game-like. There is a danger if you were to make a game like this at this current time. It would just be written off by me personally as a Minecraft clone, as a so any opening changes your perspective. Or as a low effort game. Even a game with puzzle elements to it may not get enough, what's the right word to use? Credibility? Attention? It might not get enough chance, frankly. Well, it seems like something changed here. How did I get up to the top before? Am I getting bogged down and I can't jump as far as I used to? I can get up now, but they must have moved the blocks. Right, so up on this, into the next room. What's this? Gomez sure looks very happy. You found a treasure map. A map to what? To where? I don't know. Figure it out yourself. Well, how do we look at the treasure map? Is it the back button? That wouldn't have even existed in this time. So you can kind of tell just immediately that there are secrets here. Whoever was in this room seemed to know some of this technology. It's nice that it is telling you what's through a doorway, so you don't have to just go. We can see more Tetris pieces now, quite a few more. So you don't really have to go in a place and waste your time. Although it kind of seems like there's probably something in this room that I can't see yet. Now we have two. So originally it was from this perspective we went up this level. Now everything rotates. We can see a picture. We can talk to this guy. It's been a long time. It's now your turn. I'm tired. Plus, there's the eye thing. Oh, so he doesn't have depth perception because of his eye, and he has a hat too, so he chose you to basically be the leader or the protector. And he has a camera that seems to be telling me I need to stand on specific trees all over the place, maybe to get all the birds for some achievement or something. I guess as long as you're on solid ground, you're fine with this whole setup. You won't twist or turn yourself in some kind of dangerous way. Right. And everything flattens. This will certainly be interesting, to say the least, as far as just how getting used to that kind of mechanic. Can it be a new direction? Whoa. So now it's X, Y, and a question mark where Z would be on the graph. And then here we have tallest, and here you have W, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, F, G. So it's A, B, C, D, F, G. And then it starts again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it goes Q, R, S. So it goes around several times. Is there something else? Here's a like digestive tract picture, and yeah, I'm not really seeing anything of major importance here. I think that's going to be kind of a running theme, is that we will. Alright, so there's no reason why this wouldn't work. Now that we're here, it's just simply a matter of being on the front of it, which makes it a little bit more difficult to open a treasure chest, but not super more difficult. Alright, so by just twisting the world, you then make the distance shorter or longer. Did we look in here? There's another cube piece. And certainly this will get more difficult. I guess there probably won't be too much story in this game, so we'll have some people we talk to and little bits of things here and there, but our main goal is just to save the universe because the person says it needs to be saved, the floating cube does, and that's fine. Like, it might have been helpful if Gomez had a girl he was sweet on, if you just did some of those cliches that are cliches for a reason, just that extra bit of motivation. Give him a pet, give him anything. So see how no way I can make that jump turns into I absolutely can make that jump. Right. And these birds. I guess we'll try to keep an eye out for them. Right, so if I go over here and then do this, we saw a picture, but I don't know if we have the other thing. And even though there's a lot more Tetris pieces flying around, I still don't know if we have the means to unlock what the thing might be. So unless it is just kind of a basic concept of getting all the birds to fly away, I'm not really sure. Also, I guess your HUD, how do you get the HUD to come up? Because that disappeared. X, Y, it's the Y button. So we have one key in cube shards, and then we can rotate this to the treasure map, which is cool. I could also make a probably a little unfair argument here to say that they're a little too infatuated with the rotation ability. This is something that inside of Unity or Unreal is kind of basic because it's a 3D modeling test platform. Like you're really not going to not be able to have a 3D model that rotates in space, and that's why you often see cases of collectibles in otherwise adventure games give you collectibles that you can then rotate in a 3D world, just because that's something that's so easy to program. I don't want to take anything away from indie developers, and this is a particularly old game, so there's still something to be said there, but yeah, but I would kind of in retrospect, have to hold it to a certain level of perspective. Some games just don't hold up, and if this game in itself is only going to be pulling tricks with rotation and nothing else, that's probably not going to hold up. I may have to go back to every single building because I somehow missed the one. Unless I'm supposed to just talk to everybody. Was there something in here? Is there something that can be done? Like, and the left and right trigger rotates it, but the right stick also rotates it. And there's no up and down ability, so I kind of wonder if maybe we will get some up and down rotation, but that would certainly wreak havoc with anybody trying to understand gravity in a game. I guess I should call it now and ask if, and say I suspect we might see a QR code in this game eventually. Right. Did we get a piece in here? So I wonder if the geezer is me from the future and I break time or something. Let's see, have maybe we not been in this building? Yeah, we just missed it. So it was supposed to be a lot easier over level than I actually made it. But they certainly could have done something better there with the full cubes, making them a different color, or anything, putting kind of a shininess on them. There's some visual polish that could have happened there. And then we just have all these ghost things, so it feels like we probably are going to end up in like a night world at some point, a inverted world. You did it. Now you can unseal the door. Let's go. So, I guess the easiest way to do this would be to just press down and fall. I think you're relatively safe. The door is unsealed. Are you ready to begin your adventure? Hey, listen, just a direct reference to the Pixie in Ocarina of Time. Yeah, I think this will probably be close to, if not the last bits of information we get from this dot also. At least for a while. I don't think it's going to be talking to us the whole time, and I think we're mostly just going to be playing the game in silence, which is fine. That worked for like The Witness, although in all fairness, The Witness also spent a lot of time to have other people talking or music playing or other things bridging the gap, making sure there's no awkward silence. A game like this seems simplistic enough that we might get into some awkward silences as we're trying to solve puzzles, but if we're focusing on the puzzles, it won't be too bad. Hey, I just saw a shooting star which curved, which would be one of the few things in this game that isn't pixely or square. I know this is your first time outside the village, so if you get lost you can use the world map. Press the back button to bring up the world map. That very well may have been added. No, the back buttons existed, it's just not the back button anymore. now on the Xbox One controllers. Alright, so we've got a world map. We are here. We can see the main village connects in several different ways to different locations, and each one of these has gone gold. See, right bump to zoom. So either there's nothing there, or there is something there, and the little question mark tells me there's a secret there. Okay, so the gold probably indicates something too. So there's bits. Oh, I guess they do call them bits on the map, and a secret in this area. And if we want to rotate things, we can, but this is the world map. Oh, we're getting a little tutorial. It shows you where you've been. You can zoom with left bump or right bump. You can rotate with left or right trigger. Each node represents a place in the world. This is going to get complicated and big, I think, pretty fast. The gold plating on a node means you found every item, secret, or passage in that node. Oh, so we already found everything in this room, which I guess there was only one building on any face other than the main face. Right. So I think that's it for the tutorial. And so we're just gonna habitually harass birds, and we probably don't really need to climb up here. You kind of easily also transition when you're climbing around an edge, which is nice. We don't squish swarms when we jump on them. Alright, well, so far so good. I guess we'll probably just have to live with the red saving box. Like, it doesn't seem like there's anything here that would turn that off. That seems like such a weird option to have a autosave box be so large. But yeah, so far so good. I kind of know what the game is, although I still, from reviews of other mainstream video game journalists, seems like there's probably a lot of secrets in this too. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those games where you get 100% and then all of a sudden you get 105% and you find out actually there's 200% of collectibles in the game. That's going to be it for this recording though. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos, because that's what YouTube says I need to get done for them to promote my videos. Sounds like mostly false promises at these days. If you like this video or want to check out any of the other games I've covered, I have a playlist on my YouTube page for every game I've ever covered, so check that out. And if you want to support me further, there's 2 links down below that can cut YouTube out of the deal by clicking the Patreon link and supporting me directly through that, or you could friend me on Steam and gift me either a gift card or a game off my wish list, or a game you'd just like to see me cover. This is definitely one of those games that I'm probably going to be a lot happier that I got cheap 8 years later than if I had paid maybe $30 or $40 or even $60 for something like this, which certainly even 8 years ago, this wouldn't have been a game that could justify a $60 price tag. That's it for this recording. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.